something happened in Baltimore that ARMY simply could not ignore. On the second night of BTS's Baltimore concert, fans found themselves watching more than just the spectacular performances, powerful vocals, and massive stage production. Their attention kept returning to two members whose chemistry has fascinated fans for years, Jimin and Jungkook. A glance here, a smile there, a playful interaction, a moment of effortless closeness between performances. And suddenly, social media was buzzing. What was it about Jimin and Jungkook's interaction that made so many fans stop, replay, and talk about the same moments over and over again? Was it simply the natural comfort of two longtime bandmates? Was it playful stage chemistry? Or was there something about the atmosphere of Baltimore Day 2 that made their interactions feel especially memorable? Whatever the interpretation, one thing was obvious. Jimin and Jungkook had ARMY talking. Baltimore had already experienced the excitement of the first night, but the second night brought a different kind of energy. Fans arrived with expectations shaped by what they had already witnessed. They knew the songs, they knew many of the stage moments, and they knew that anything unexpected could happen. Inside the stadium, thousands of ARMY bombs illuminated the venue as BTS appeared before the crowd. The reaction was enormous. Yet as the concert moved from one performance to another, fans began noticing something beyond the choreography. Whenever Jimin and Jungkook appeared near each other, the audience reacted. Sometimes it was a smile. Sometimes it was a glance. Sometimes it was simply the way they stood beside one another, with a level of comfort that seemed completely natural. And for fans who have followed BTS for years, those tiny interactions can carry a surprising amount of emotional weight. Jimin and Jungkook have spent a huge part of their lives together. They debuted as members of BTS, grew up in the spotlight together, experienced countless tour and performances together, and watched each other evolve from young trainees into global superstars. That kind of history creates familiarity. And familiarity can be seen. It appears in the way someone immediately knows when another member is joking. It appears in the way two people can react to each other without saying a word. It appears in those tiny moments when a carefully planned concert suddenly feels completely spontaneous. That was what fans were paying attention to in Baltimore. Not necessarily one dramatic event. Rather, a collection of little details. A laugh, a quick glance, a playful gesture, a moment when Jimin and Jungkook appeared completely relaxed around each other. And because thousands of fans were watching, those little details quickly became much bigger. Phones were recording, fans were posting, screenshots were being shared, clips were being replayed. And before long, the conversation had spread far beyond the stadium. For ARMY, a concert does not really end when the final song is over. The show continues online. Every interesting moment becomes a clip. Every funny reaction becomes a post. Every memorable interaction becomes something fans want to discuss. Baltimore Day 2 was no different. As fan photos and videos began circulating, Jimin and Jungkook once again became a major focus. The reaction was immediate. Some fans were simply excited to see their favorite members interacting. Others described the moments as incredibly sweet. Some couldn't stop talking about their chemistry. And others joked that the two had managed to turn an already emotional concert into something even more unforgettable. The word romantic also appeared in fan reactions, but that is where interpretation becomes important. There is a difference between saying that a moment looked romantic to fans and claiming that it represented an actual romantic relationship. There is no verified evidence that the Baltimore interaction established anything beyond the visible chemistry and closeness between two longtime BTS members. What fans saw was a public performance. What they felt was their own interpretation of that performance. And there is nothing unusual about that. Live concerts are emotional experiences. A smile can feel meaningful. A glance can feel dramatic. A small gesture can become unforgettable simply because of the atmosphere surrounding it. And BTS concerts are especially powerful because the relationship between the members and ARMY has been built over many years. Fans have watched Jimin and Jungkook grow together. They have seen their playful moments, their jokes, their support for one another, and the countless memories they have created as members of BTS. That history changes the way fans experience even the smallest interactions. When Jimin smiles at Jungkook, fans aren't only seeing a few seconds on stage. For longtime ARMY, they are seeing years of memories behind that smile. The same is true when Jungkook reacts to Jimin. There is an understanding that comes from time. Years of rehearsals, years of concerts, years of interviews, years of traveling together, years of standing on stages around the world. That kind of connection naturally produces chemistry. And when that chemistry appears in front of tens of thousands of people, it can be impossible to ignore. Baltimore Day 2 also carried a special emotional atmosphere for another reason. BTS's return to the world stage has been deeply meaningful for fans. After years of waiting and following the members through different chapters of their lives, seeing the full group together again has turned each concert into something more than an ordinary performance. Every member stepping onto the stage matters. Every shared smile matters. Every interaction feels like another reminder that BTS is together again. That emotional context can make small moments feel much larger. A simple exchange between Jimin and Jungkook can suddenly become one of the moments fans remember most from the entire evening. And that is exactly what happened. As the concert continued, fans kept watching. They noticed every time the two were near each other. Every time they smiled. Every time one reacted to the other. And the audience responded with the kind of energy only ARMY can create. A huge cheer. Thousands of voices. Light sticks moving through the stadium. The performers hearing that reaction and responding to the crowd. It becomes a cycle. The members interact. The audience reacts. The members notice the audience reaction. And suddenly, the original moment becomes even bigger. That is part of what makes a stadium concert so magical. The audience isn't simply watching. The audience becomes part of the experience. And when the crowd reacts especially strongly to a particular interaction, everyone on stage can feel it. Jimin and Jungkook have always had a dynamic that naturally attracts attention. Jimin is known for an expressive performance style. His facial expressions, body language, and ability to communicate emotion through movement often make even subtle moments noticeable. Jungkook, meanwhile, brings a powerful and energetic stage presence. He can command an audience with his vocals and dancing, yet he also has a playful side that appears when he interacts with the other members. When those two personalities meet, the result is naturally entertaining. One can smile. The other responds. One makes a playful gesture. The other notices. And fans immediately recognize the rhythm. It feels effortless because their familiarity is effortless. That may be one of the biggest reasons their interactions continue to attract so much attention. They don't necessarily have to do anything dramatic. They simply have to be themselves. That is often more powerful than a scripted moment. A rehearsed scene can be impressive, but an unexpected laugh can feel more genuine. A perfectly choreographed move can excite a crowd, but a spontaneous glance can stay in someone's memory much longer. And that is why fans kept replaying the Baltimore moments. They weren't necessarily looking for a major announcement. They were enjoying the little things. The moments between the songs. The reactions between members. The smiles that happen when nobody seems to be trying too hard. The feeling that, despite the enormous stadium, the two were simply comfortable being around each other. For many fans, that comfort is what makes their chemistry so enjoyable. It is familiar. It is natural. It is the kind of connection that comes from knowing someone for years. And when that connection appears on stage, ARMY notices. Baltimore Day 2 became another example of how quickly a small concert moment can become a global online conversation. A fan records a few seconds. Another person reposts it. Someone else adds a caption. Then thousands of people watch it. People begin sharing their reactions. Soon, the original moment is no longer just a moment inside a stadium. It becomes part of the larger story surrounding the concert. That is the power of social media. And when the subject is BTS, the effect becomes even stronger. The group has one of the most passionate global fan communities in the world, and ARMY has developed an incredible ability to preserve every important moment. Nothing seems too small. A funny expression, a new hairstyle, a change in choreography, a playful exchange, a simple smile. Everything can become a memory. That is why Jimin and Jungkook's interactions resonated so strongly. For some fans, they were simply adorable. For others, emotional. For others, hilarious. And for many, they were just another reminder of the bond that exists between BTS members after so many years together. The important thing is that fans can appreciate that bond without needing to make claims about the artists' private lives. The public can see friendship. The public can see comfort. The public can see chemistry. But only the people involved know what every private interaction truly means. That distinction matters. Because the most meaningful thing about Baltimore Day 2 may not have been whether the interaction was romantic or not. It may have been how happy fans were to see BTS together. After everything that has happened over the years, seeing all 7 members sharing one stage again carries a special emotional impact. Every concert becomes a celebration. Every city becomes another chapter. And every small interaction becomes part of the memory. For the fans inside Baltimore, the atmosphere was unforgettable. Thousands of people singing together. Lights shining across the stadium. The members moving across the stage. And somewhere in the middle of all that excitement, Jimin and Jungkook shared moments that made people smile. Maybe that is the real story. Not a dramatic revelation. Not a secret message. Not some hidden announcement. Just 2 longtime bandmates enjoying the stage together. And thousands of fans enjoying the moment with them. That alone can be enough. Because sometimes the moments fans remember most are not the biggest ones. They are the smallest. A glance across the stage. A smile that lasts for a second. A laugh that wasn't planned. A member stepping closer to another. A reaction that makes the entire audience scream. Those moments remind fans that behind the massive production, the world tour, the flashing cameras, and the enormous global fame, BTS is still made up of 7 people who have spent years sharing the same journey. And Jimin and Jungkook are part of that story. Their closeness has been visible throughout their years together. Their chemistry has become familiar to fans. Their playful energy often creates some of the most memorable interactions during performances. Baltimore simply gave ARMY another opportunity to witness it. And the reaction proved just how much those little moments still mean. As clips from the concert continued circulating, Fans kept revisiting the same interactions. Some watched them again just to catch expressions they had missed the first time. Others shared their favorite screenshots. Some laughed at the audience reactions. Others simply wrote about how happy they were to see the two members having fun together. In that sense, the story became larger than Jimin and Jungkook. It became a story about ARMY itself, about how deeply fans care, about how closely they watch, about how much meaning they can find in moments that last only a few seconds. And perhaps that is why Baltimore Day 2 felt so special. Because after years of following BTS, fans have learned to appreciate the tiny details. They know that not every memorable moment will be planned. They know that not every highlight will come with fireworks. Sometimes the most powerful memory is simply seeing the members laugh. And on this night, Jimin and Jungkook gave fans plenty to smile about. The concert ended. The lights eventually came down. The stadium began to empty. But online, the conversation continued. Fans kept sharing clips. They kept talking about the performances. They kept remembering their favorite moments. And once again, Jimin and Jungkook had become one of the most discussed duos of the night. Maybe it was the smiles. Maybe it was the timing. Maybe it was simply the fact that they looked comfortable. Whatever the reason, ARMY noticed. And when ARMY notices something, the internet usually hears about it. Baltimore Day 2 will eventually become another date in BTS's enormous concert history. There will be more cities, more performances, more stages, more unforgettable moments. But for the fans who experienced Baltimore, this night will remain special. Not only because BTS performed, not only because the stadium was filled with music, but because it was another opportunity to watch 7 longtime friends share the stage again. And in the middle of all that excitement, Jimin and Jungkook once again reminded fans why their chemistry continues to attract so much attention. No dramatic announcement was necessary. No huge gesture was required. Sometimes all it takes is a smile, a glance, a laugh, a little bit of playful energy, and an audience ready to notice every second. That was Baltimore Day 2. And for ARMY, it was another night they won't be forgetting anytime soon.